60 years of independence, we ask the question, is there really anything worth celebrating as a nation? There are many different answers to that question, depending whom you ask. One thing each and every Sierra Leonean can agree on is the fact that things have not been going right. In the next few minutes, we explore the main causes of many of our daily woes and look at 4 steps that we believe can help transform our beloved Mama Salome. But first, let us go back to the beginning. On April 27, 1961, the British flag was pulled down and replaced by the green, white, and blue. Our Sierra Leone was born. Our parents and grandparents celebrated and hoped for the good things to come.
A violent flashback of a troubled past.
Someone has been arrested here. Someone has been arrested. She's been drugged. She's been drugged. Before has been arrested.
Plagued by tragedies, from a civil war, an Ebola epidemic, and a devastating mudslide, it is the average citizen that always suffers the most. Through party politics, citizens are made to believe that they are each other's enemy, when this is not true. This is the noise. From our work and interactions with fellow Sierra Leoneans on a daily basis, we see 4 things that are holding the country and people back. First, we Sierra Leoneans see politicians as kings who rule over us, instead of as people who should serve citizens. Because of this, we see that many public officials have no commitment to the people they are paid to serve. Instead, they are loyal to their parties. In the same way, even when they fail to perform, they can maintain their positions if the party is happy with them. Service is not linked to performance, but to loyalty to political leaders or parties.
The tribalism and the illiteracy combined. The tribalism, they make the leadership, even when they do nonsense, people, they still dance for them because it come on at that particular place there.
We get for develop the maturity for take criticism. You know, in our culture, even at us, people, for let you possibly West self begin tell you, say, that we would behave to me so yesterday and all that can, now in the front. You know, in our culture at all. So, now they make they build God out of we leaders then, because we not use for able for constructively say, Pa, you do this fine, but he also, I think, say, he need adjustment.
Very powerful. Even now, with things so bad in the country, some people now want to let you criticize genuinely. As you criticize them, you say they criticize this person because he come on at that group.
You know, between 2016 to 2018, political parties then build more political party offices than for build schools and colleges and hospitals in this country.
The people, you know, they get drugs at the hospital on a daily basis. The people then not get enough classrooms. With people, you know, they get electricity. With people, you know, they get good roads. So waiting with all the people.
That is one very, very sad thing for Salome. Sometimes the day I can sit down, I tell myself, say, Papa God, you make her not sick in this country. Because if something meets you, you don't even know who side for go, where you go get quality treatment.
I want us to each reflect deeply and ask ourselves as individuals and collectively as a nation what we have done to make our country a land worth living in.
Second, we have accepted corruption as a way of life. As citizens, we readily pay and receive bribes and admire politicians and private business owners who loot the country. There has been little effort to put systems in place to prevent corruption, and so billions of leones are lost every year to politicians, corrupt business persons, and even NGOs.
You see, people usually look at corruption from the point of view that the country loses money and goes into private pockets. Why is that important? The real problem with corruption is the reputational cost it causes to a country.
The corruption, not to the money no more. The worst corruption are the institutional decay. When the judiciary know they work well, then become politicized. So no contracts no they way then they enforce in terms of investment. So people they afraid for car. You, the politician, cannot defend the basic human rights of people. Waiting though, because you go on the street and they arrest you, and now you right as a politician. for able organized peaceful protest. So institutional decay is worse than when you steal the money.
These are all things that have a foundation in corruption. Because the more foreign direct investment we have in the country, the more there will be forex in the country. The more forex there will be in the country, the lower will be the cost of buying the dollar, for example, of the market, so the dollar will not continue to go up. So fighting corruption is really an important aspect of socio-economic transformation.
The NACIT, the NRA, these are institutions, and they don't establish them. We duty now for make sure say we create a platform, make them work effective. The PPRC, let them be institutions people will respect. Because that's so you start.
Third, it is difficult to hold officials accountable for results because as citizens, we often do not get the right information that will help us ask the right questions. Instead of asking our leaders why our schools have no books or why our hospitals have no medicine, we allow ourselves to be divided by ethnic politics and violence.
First of all, it's the high level of illiteracy. We not go school, and due to that, most of us we make certain decisions based on what are people around us, people that give us handouts. We brag them, what's in the tell. We cannot make our own conscious decisions for ourselves. We rely on other people to make our decisions.
The unemployed youth are some of the biggest victims of manipulation. They are used by politicians as agents of violence and then ignored after elections. Their lives do not change.
Now, from there, just in the office, you see. I will one day, one day, big man can say, "Ball, 1 million." But now they no change from back say, because I don't tell them as kids first. We solve potential, we solve my politician can use it. And one left so they want it. But we take a certain time not to. The time young first, don't worry. But Bella dies not tell this.
Because of God goodness, man no get job, man no get outside for leave. Now that man in the sleep now.
Political violence persists where there is zero accountability for violence among the political leaders who finance and benefit from it.
Because now it's not about what they did wrong to society. It is the fact that I belong to this class. So they get sympathy when they should be getting accountability.
So the decisions you make, and it's not just about the presidency. Wherever you sit as a leader, you get for members, you get for common day. And if you don't make good laws, good relationship, you don't think outside the box. When you left, some of them wrong decisions that you make, therefore can haunt you. And at the end of the day,
the information is being kept. Then the whole information, the people who will get the information, they keep the information.
Pikin go to school for land book. Teacher then put say it dong for teach the pikin them, and they not say can am use for lesson after school. And outside that situation, they come to the attention of the authorities. There's something be done about it. Then we go move on.
We can now see that we, the citizens, are the cause of our poverty, and only we can be the solution. Here is the irony. Instead of uniting to see how we can benefit from our God-given minerals, agriculture, and fish, we often believe that the solution to our problems lie with the international community and foreign aid. In 2014, the people of Sierra Leone were hit with a deadly Ebola virus. It gave Sierra Leone a great opportunity to rebuild its health system. But corruption and greed meant that once again, resources meant for many found their way into the pockets of a few. One of the biggest causes of poor healthcare condition is the absence of ambulances. This is more severe for rural communities with poor infrastructure. Hundreds of ambulances were donated to the people of Sierra Leone through government. The same government also bought many more. Sierra Leoneans were to use the ambulances for the operation of a national ambulance service. However, just a little over a year after the Ebola outbreak, another disaster, the mudslide, struck the country. About 1,000 people died on a day when our people needed ambulances. Many ambulances were either hoarded in warehouses, left in car parks, or cannibalized and sold. All this talk about tribalism and regionalism is just a distraction. It is meant to keep our country's wealth in the hands of a few people. When we allow politicians to collude with foreign businesses to evade taxes, we all get to taste poverty. It doesn't matter whether our president is Mende or Timni. We are all in the same boat on the same journey. We either paddle together or sink together. The good news is our democracy is maturing. We have a more technology-driven environment, and there are clear signs the governance is changing. The recently published Biometer is a great example of growth and maturity in the civil society space. For the first time, a sitting government is being rated by the public against their manifesto and election campaign promises.
So progress has been made. We are not yet where we want to be, but progress has been made. I clap for 1,000 President Biodondu, and I have to be able to get the ability to be able to say, in a respectable way, I think we need to fix this.
As citizens, friends, and well-wishers of Sierra Leone, we are all tasked with playing our part in engaging on the real issues, like education, health, governance, and social harmony. When we see hospitals without medicine, or our schools without books, we must stand up and speak the truth, regardless of our tribe or political affiliation. Experts suggest 4 actions we can take as Sierra Leoneans to refocus our energy on the things that matter for us. First, leaders need to unify our country and its people.
Maturity, again, not by age. Now the person where they get the courage for move first, in spite of the fact that maybe you say, I suppose to get a higher ground. But in spite of my higher ground, I move, go meet you and call and say, for the peace of this nation.
Second, leaders need to create a system where institutions and citizens deliver results. And if they do not, there are consequences. Third, we need to end impunity. Anyone who has access to or controls state resources and steals from the state must face consequences, irrespective of tribe, region, or party.
As we are doing it now, is mostly fire brigade, where we react to audit reports, where we react to people who have already committed the offense. But the real success in the fight against corruption for a country like Sierra Leone has to be built on the foundations of prevention, where you can have preventive systems embedded in the socio-political framework, in the governance system, so as to remove opportunities and incidences of corruption.
Finally, we the citizens must drive the change we want to see. In the end, the solutions to ending our poverty can only come from us. We, the citizens, own our destiny and our fate. The international community, at best, can only be partners. Real and lasting change can only come if we go beyond the noise, refuse to allow politicians to divide us, and hold them accountable to their promises. When we focus on what really matters, the health and prosperity of all, we will see change.
you look at the quality of the airport, and I'm not being critical, I'm just being practical with it at the sea as compared to other continents in Africa. You know, the up to, it's nice, it looks neat, but the standard where we're supposed to reach, we're not reached it.